What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Comic Blast podcast. Grayson is my co-host. My name is Keenan.
That is my name. No, yeah. I'm not Keenan. I'm Grayson.
Did I say that right?
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
I'm just tired.
Yeah, me too.
We've had some background before we get into anything. Like, we've had a long day today. We've been working on a lot of stuff. I think we've been working on it for almost 6 hours now.
Yeah.
But hopefully this episode, the audio quality is going to sound a lot better. We bought a second mic.
Yep.
So we both have each of our mic. Keenan has this nice stand with a silver and blue Yeti.
Yeah.
And mine has a sock on it.
Yeah. Grayson has a sock as his pop filter for his mic, and he also has to hold it. He doesn't have a stand yet.
Yeah. So if the audio, if it gets a little too loud or inconsistent, that's why it's not in one consistent place. So
yeah.
I just like to warn people about that.
For sure. I'm excited though. I mean, we've been talking about building a set for a little bit,
right?
And that's something that we've been working on. We're not ready to do any filming just yet, but we both have microphones. Before we were splitting one microphone between both of us, so hopefully the audio quality turns out okay for this episode. If it doesn't, you probably will never hear this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we've been hard at work all day, and we're finally getting around to recording. We are recording this on a Monday. It's the 1st. Tomorrow, Spider-Man will be coming out.
Yeah.
And the episode will be coming out the same day that Spider-Man comes out. So we have not seen the actual movie.
Yeah, and unfortunately, there's no early showings either. There's only
there's no the night before showings.
Yeah, which is weird because it's just this whole weird thing because it's coming out the week of July the 4th, which is a holiday. It was supposed to come out July 5th, and then they bumped it ahead, I guess, technically to July 2nd, which is tomorrow for us. So, but we do intend on doing a review for it because, you know us, we're
big Spider-Man people.
Yeah, we're we could talk about Spider-Man for an entire episode, which is probably what's going to happen today. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it will.
but yeah, we're definitely gonna do a review for it. So,
absolutely, it'll come this week. We'll get a review out. We'll talk spoilers at some point during the review.
We'll probably wait a couple of days after some people have had the chance to see it or something like that, and then just kind of do similar to what we did with our in-game review, which is what we just kind of talked about everything, kind of free flowing, just thoughts of the movie. Just a discussion.
Yeah, we're not critiquing anything so much. We're just discussing the film. This whole week has been our Spider-Man week. We just have been celebrating Spider-Man, whether it be through the comics, the games, the movies, TV shows, everything like that. If you've been keeping up with us on social media, which you can follow us at comicblast_ on both Twitter and Instagram now, because I did change our username on Instagram. I don't think I told you that, Grayson.
Oh, really? So is it?
Yeah.
So on Instagram, it's Comic Blast.
Black Pickle.
Oh God, why did you bring that up? Now I have to explain that.
Okay. So Grace. So if you know what the Blue Yeti mic looks like, it kind of looks like a pill. Or a pickle, as Grayson likes to call it. Grayson's is black, so he decided to name it a Black Pickle.
I didn't decide to name it.
But that's what came out.
It looks. I just looked at
that's
it. That's
the name of it for now on.
It looks like a black pickle.
Okay.
With a
I said a pill, but okay. Yeah.
So.
I'm gonna die. I'm gonna lose it now.
You can tell that we're really tired, because we've had a long day. But honestly, we're really happy with how everything is coming together.
What was I saying even before that? We were talking about Spider-Man.
Oh,
we
Instagram.
Already lost it. Okay, yeah, Instagram.
I
didn't tell you. I didn't tell you, but our Instagram username is at comicblast_ now, so it's both the same.
That's good.
I got tired of saying Comic Blast Official. I was like, that's so stupid.
Now you can remember just one.
Yeah, that's exactly what went into my thought process behind that. It's I don't have to remember two usernames now. So
I wish we had
us.
Comic Blast Official on both of them, to be honest.
But Twitter won't let us.
Yeah.
It's too long.
Oh, is it too long?
Yeah, it's too long of a username. So.
Gotcha.
I wish we just had at Comic Blast. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Someone has 20 followers and has that username.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
The jerk.
So,
right. Yeah, you can follow us on Instagram. We've been celebrating Spider-Man over there, doing a lot of quizzes and polls and rankings, and it's been a really fun time. Everyone's been really cool and interactive with everything that we've been putting out.
It's been really cool to see all of the different rankings and just people
so
engaging with it. It's cool. It's nice to know that there's honestly how many just Spider-Man fans there are out there. I also really liked being able to find the art and kind of share it on there. Some of the artists
We've been doing a little bit of that too.
I love Spider-Man art, like just different artists, different interpretations of it. So like getting to post and share some of like our favorites was really cool.
Awesome. Yeah. So this episode we're going to be talking about all of the live action Spider-Man movies. We're going to be ranking it. A little bit later we'll be talking about Endgame's re-release. And also some news on a potential Doctor Doom movie that's going to be near the end of the episode.
Oh, yeah.
Before we get into that, though, we do have a giveaway going on since we are celebrating Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. We have a Spider-Man-filled giveaway, a lot.
A lot of stuff. Like, it kind of started small, and then we realized, like, we had a lot of stuff to give away.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, I'm pretty hyped to give
some of this away. What we're doing is... we're going to do it 2 separate giveaways. One's going to be for people who want to leave a review for us on Apple Podcasts. So if you leave a review for us on Apple Podcasts, you'll be entered. Also be a subscriber because that helps us out. But yeah, so if you want to enter into the giveaway for the Apple Podcast one, just go ahead and leave a review. If you've already left a review, we'll go ahead and get you entered in either way, just to show our appreciation. But what we're going to be giving away over on that is someone's going to get a Spider-Man Homecoming digital copy.
Yep.
Or the Sam Raimi trilogy digital code, which means that you'll get all 3 movies.
Actually, all 3 movies plus 2 the 2.1 cut.
Yeah.
Editor's cut for Spider-Man 3. So technically 5 movies, but 2 of them are like different variations of the same movie. Yep.
And then we'll have 2 separate winners for copies of The Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2. Mm-hmm. So to kind of wrap that up, there will be 4 winners for the people who enter into our iTunes review giveaway.
Yeah.
One person will win the Homecoming code, one will win the Sam Raimi trilogy code, and then 2 people will win codes for The Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2.
Yep.
So go ahead and head over to iTunes or Apple Podcasts. Even if you don't have that, if you just want to go to your web browser and search us up on iTunes, you'll be able to leave a review from there. And leave a review, and we'll get you entered into that contest. We're also going to be giving away some stuff over on Instagram. We're going to make a post pretty soon regarding that. The way you're going to enter into that is by commenting on the post. So we'll have directions for what to do, but be sure to be following us on Instagram. And if you do that, you'll see the directions for how to enter into that one. But we're going to be giving away physical copies for Spider-Man Homecoming on Blu-ray, and then the complete Sam Raimi trilogy on Blu-ray. Each of those copies will come with a Comic Blast sticker to show your appreciation. That was Grayson's idea, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, we I don't know, like, I just love these stickers, so I was like, we might as well throw those in as well for the people who are getting the physical stuff, because I mean it means a lot. It's kind of some free merchandising, and it's so far right now they're limited edition because only Keenan and I have them.
Only 6 exist in the world. I think it's pretty cool. We're gonna get more of those made just to give out and do stuff with giveaways and stuff like that. Man, I feel like I'm out of breath from announcing all of that giveaway stuff.
Yeah,
I'm struggling right now. But I don't want to waste any time because I really want to get into our live action Spider-Man ranking.
Yesterday you posted on Instagram. You were asking people their live action Spider-Man rankings, and so we decided to do our own because first of all we wanted to just hear what like other people what their rankings were, and I watched all of the, or I looked at all of them that they were put down. But it was interesting to see a lot of them were very similar. Like I think they had like certain ones within kind of the same area. So I feel like there's kind of like a universal belief on like the rankings of them. But
there were 2 entries in that were identical to my list, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah. So let me pull up my list right here. I accidentally included Spider-Verse in mine, so I'm just gonna ignore like that it's on the list. Nothing wrong with Spider-Verse, obviously.
Well, we'll take it from the top. So we'll start at what, number 6? Is there 6 movies?
Yeah.
We can just jump right into it. What's your number 6?
All right. So I was rewatching this film this past week, and then I realized, like, while I do. In a perfect world, my opinion is all Spider-Man movies are created equal.
We should actually give that disclaimer before we even start this.
Yeah.
We love all the Spider-Man movies.
We love all of them. It's just like, this is what I put on my list thing. I used Letterboxd for my ranking, and I said, all Spider-Man films are created equal, but gun to my head, these are the order of my favorites. Like,
I like that.
Yeah, so like this is what I think. Like, if I had to choose, I really enjoy all of them, but starting from number 6 is Spider-Man 3.
Okay.
Yeah. I do like this movie a lot, like, but as I was rewatching it yesterday, I realized it can be pretty cringy at times. And the whole black suit thing, like the way they treated Peter Parker in that, like there was some, I think there's a handful of stuff like with the black suit that's really good, especially in his vengeance for Uncle Ben and related to Flint Marko. I even think Flint Marko is a great villain, but the whole thing with him being like, you know, we all know, you know, as Spider-Verse say, we don't really talk about that. Like, and here we are talking about it. But, I just, there's a lot of crap in that movie, but there's some awesome stuff in that movie as well. Like,
of course,
I think Sandman is a fantastic villain. I think they treated him actually really well, and he's one of the, like, a really
should
good
have been
villain.
The villain of the movie. And
he was the main one. I think they, like, I've seen people mention that, like, if they did a Spider-Man 4, the black suit should have been kind of like, Spider-Man 3 and 4 should have been kind of like a 1-part, 2-part thing.
Okay.
Where, like, the black suit was kind of a saga between those two movies.
That'd be kind of cool.
Because remember, we saw that Spider-Man 4 was supposed to be it was supposed to have Vulture in it, like with John Malkovich and everything, and so that would have been interesting to see. But I'm trying to think of like other things. I actually really like the whole what am I trying to think? Like, I guess rivalry or the beef between Harry and
the
Peter.
love triangle.
Yeah, that it's not really a love triangle because like MJ doesn't really love him like Harry, but it's like because she's so fed up with Peter, like she and like dude, Peter Parker. I tweeted this if you follow me on Twitter.
I remember that.
I said Peter Parker really was a jerk in Spider-Man 3. Like I don't know what it was, but like there was so many times I'm like, I think this may have come from the part like I realize how much of a jerk he is now because I have a girlfriend, and realizing like the way he treats MJ is like he doesn't empathize with her at all. He always diverts it back to him into a situation that has nothing to do with it. Like the part where he's like, I feel like I do this all the time as Spider-Man. People love me, whatever. And I'm like, Peter, shut up.
Yeah.
I was like, you are not helping. I'm like, just be there for your girlfriend. Like, you don't have to be relatable or anything. Like, she just needs someone to like say it's gonna be okay and that it's gonna get better. Yeah. Like sometimes it doesn't take like this whole like.
You don't have to save her and try to lift her up. You like, just gotta be like, that sucks.
He's always has to be like, not saving her physically, but saving her like emotionally and stuff. And I'm like, MJ's just going through a tough time. She's trying to be there for you, especially with the whole thing of like Uncle Ben's killer still being alive, and you're just kind of like diverting it. Like he has such a massive ego in Spider-Man 3.
For sure.
Which actually, I mean, I don't hate that part of the movie. Like I think that part like is good because I think Peter kind of was like after everything.
It's
like,
it's a cool arc.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that part is really good.
Considering they spent a lot of time building him up, and then you're supposed to have that kind of like in the arc, you're supposed to have that friction or that issue in between, and then have him come back up or like overcome that. We never got to see the rest of that arc, I guess. Yeah. But yeah, I agree with most things that you're saying about Spider-Man 3.
So what's your number 6?
Number 6, I have you're gonna hate this. The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
No, Keenan, why? Why?
It's funny. I started rewatching this movie last night. I didn't get to finish it, but after rewatching The Amazing Spider-Man 1, I just found that I really adore that film. Before I had it swapped around, where The Amazing Spider-Man 2 was first. But there's just like throughout the movie, there's just so many things that start to add up that really bother me. We talked about this before we even did the podcast, but there's a lot going on. There's a lot of Sony going on in the movie. The main thing, like the main, I guess, plot or the thing that I like is obviously Peter and Gwen. It's
so good.
It's basically like that relationship held together this the Amazing Spider-Man series. Like their chemistry and everything was perfect.
Comic book like relationship.
They nailed it. Like they actually, because I hated Peter and MJ in the Raimi films. Yeah. As much as I love those movies, I thought MJ was so annoying. I was just like, dump her. I'm like, I don't care. Yeah. Like I don't want you guys to be together. So, the fact that I had a relationship that I could root for, and then obviously it tragically ended, but that whole thing was obviously the best part of the Amazing Spider-Man movies. It's not that I don't like the movie. Like, I still have fun watching it. It's just it's weaker. It's the weakest compared to.
I'll get into most of my thoughts when I show my ranking
when you get there.
So because I have a lot of thoughts.
Yeah, because it's gonna be like number one. I'm just kidding. It's gonna be high up there.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Like, I think I'll get into like at least my negatives with that.
Yeah.
Is the overdoing it with the plot. I also think they kind of with the whole Harry thing in that, especially, like, that was kind of like one plot that I was like, they either should have stuck with Electro or stuck with Harry. Personally, I liked Electro. We were talking about this before, and like how you were rewatching it and you actually kind of sympathized with Max Dillon. But the biggest thing was like his design and the way he was like his character was. Like, I like his arc and I like how he's this outcast, but he could have been a more normal guy than this gap between his teeth, this like pedo stash, and this terrible hairstyle, and he's so geeky. And then you cast Jamie Foxx, one of the most like attractive black actors, like, and make him this. I'm like, you could have made him just like, like a regular guy who really likes Spider-Man. Yeah. And like, he's a little timid, he's a little shy, but for the most part, like, he's just an electrician, like, that works for Oscorp, and he likes Spider-Man a lot.
Another thing with that movie, though, I feel like they really take it overboard with like they almost bring out the cheesiest parts of comics and try to put it on screen. Like freaking Rhino, they took it so overboard, and a lot of the dialogue where like Electro says something along the lines like, "I'm gonna light my candles" or something like that.
Like, it's my birthday. It's time to light my candles.
See, that's something that I would like see in like a 90s animated series or something like that.
When he says, it's like, "Don't you know I'm Electro?"
Yeah.
I was like, oh, man.
They really took it overboard to bring out the cheesiest. Like, that's something you would read in a comic book. Like, that's dialogue straight from a comic book. They made it really cheesy. That's one of the things that bothered me. But like I said, I really like the movie. Like, I love the movie. I love the Gwen and Peter stuff. That's mainly the reason I watch it. Also, it nails so many things about Spider-Man and New York. Like, New York is huge for me when it comes to Spider-Man. That's why I was kind of iffy on Spider-Man Far From Home. Yeah. I was like, I love Spider-Man in New York because it's almost like a character itself in the movie or any comic movie, TV show. Right. It plays such a big part in who Peter Parker is. So I like to see him explore and interact with the people. So they nailed that in The Amazing Spider-Man. Obviously, the web swinging is like perfect. It's gorgeous. And I like the suit too. I like the Amazing Spider-Man suit a little bit more, like the first one. Yeah. But anyways, let's get on to number 5.
Okay, let me pull up my number 5
handy dandy list.
So at my number 5,
don't hurt me.
Spider-Man 1.
Oh, you hurt me. All right, go ahead.
So
ripping off the Band-Aid.
So Spider-Man 1
wow, man,
is
funny.
Like, I adore this movie, but I think it's probably the Spider-Man movie that's aged the worst, mainly because it came out in 2002. I think for what it did at the time is like amazing, and Spider-Man 1 was like monumental for my childhood. Like it's probably the movie that helped me discover like my love for Spider-Man. Yeah, most likely. Tobey Maguire is so perfect as Peter Parker in that one. They nailed the nerdy part of Peter Parker. Aunt May and Uncle Ben is great. Like, the entire way they treat his origin is so faithful to the originals, Yeah. I think it just nails the origin story of Spider-Man. It really, like, I think it's perfect.
It does.
And I just think it's like it does. The action scenes aren't that great. Like, there's not a lot of great action. Like, I think the best one is definitely the fight at the end between him and Green Goblin, and also the fight with the burning building. But like the part where like he's at like the what is it? It has Macy Gray. And she's like, like that fight.
The parade.
Yeah, that fight is rough.
It's like a Thanksgiving parade or something like that.
Exactly, Thanksgiving parade. It's just weird.
Oh, the CG and everything looks awful during that.
Yeah,
and
it's not that good.
Yeah, there's even times in the first movie where I'm not sure if they didn't rely heavily on CGI. Yeah. I think they tried their best to do practical. Right. This is before the technology really was able to allow them to do like full web swinging between buildings and stuff, I guess. Yeah. But there's times where Peter or Spider-Man swinging, and it literally
looks like he's not attaching to nothing.
Yeah, he looks like he's attached to like there's like a line holding him, like when he's like reaching for like a web. You can tell that there's like a zip line attached to his back, strapped to him, like as he's falling. Like the physics just doesn't work. For the scene.
That's what I'm saying. It's like it's older stuff.
There's definitely a lot of that going on. So, like I can't even fault you for that. It's just like we'll get into it when I get into my list. I won't defend it yet.
Don't get to it. Like, and like I said before, this isn't because
this is gonna get personal.
I was like, this isn't because I hate any of these movies. I'm like, I love them all so much, but like, if I had to choose the ones that I enjoy the most, that mean the most to me, like this is the one that, like, this is the why I rank it that way. And I also will say, like, it's different on different days. Like, I feel like on another day, I probably would be like, oh yeah, Spider-Man 1's easily a number 3 for me.
Sure.
Or easily, like,
it's almost like sometimes you rewatch it and you're like, God, like, that was amazing.
Yeah. And then like other like that was what happened when I rewatched Spider-Man 3 last year. I was like, dude, Spider-Man 3 is so good. Like, why did it get so much hate? And then I rewatched it again like 2 days ago, and I was like, boy, God, this movie, like, why is it so bad? And I was like, and so it's like, it's so weird. Like, it really just depends on your day and like everything. So,
100%.
So yeah, Spider-Man 1, like I love that film, and we wouldn't have gotten like that entire trilogy, and probably wouldn't have gotten a lot of things in Marvel live action without Spider-Man 1.
Definitely.
And also, I think it's one of the best origin movies.
Oh, it's great.
For Spider-Man, I think it's
like tied with, like, for me, Batman Begins. It's really good.
Captain America: The First Avenger is really good as well. Solid. Yeah.
Okay, number 5 for me. You ready for this?
No.
The Amazing Spider-Man.
Of course you had to do it.
So. Yeah. So I rewatched this one yesterday, and I was like, I don't remember liking it as much as I do now. Like, the first time seeing it.
Why is it number 5, Keenan?
First of all, I was like, when this movie got announced that it was being made, I was very much against it.
Yeah.
I was like,
Spider-Man 4.
No. I'm like, I wanted Spider-Man 4.
Yeah.
And then even as the trailers were coming out, I was like, this is stupid.
How old were you? Were you 18 when this movie came out?
What year was this?
2012.
Oh boy. Yeah, I was like 20.
That's as old
You're
as
not even 20 yet.
I'm not even 20 yet. I was 12.
Yeah. So that kind of like shows why our experiences with these movies are so different. So it came out, and I really enjoyed it, and I was like looking forward to the next one. But after watching it last night, I just loved that it had such a. People say it's kind of like a rehash of the other movies. I'm like, actually, it feels very fresh to me.
Yeah, it does a lot of different things different.
It does so many things different. Between also introducing Gwen Stacy, but also the way that they treat Peter Parker. It's not like he's like overly nerdy. Yeah, he just is like he's this an outcast teen who
I think he's more of a, like, I'll always say, like, Andrew Garfield is the better, like, modern day Peter Parker.
He's the modern day outcast.
Yeah.
Because nowadays, I mean, like, you have your nerds and geeks and stuff, but like some of the outcasts, they look like just like everybody else. Yeah. And dress like everybody else.
Since we're on the topic of the Amazing Spider-Man, like mine was number 4. So the Amazing Spider-Man was my number 4.
Okay,
so we can just keep on talking.
Yeah, we can just continue with it.
One of our favorite things about it is the suit design.
I love that suit.
We really like the suit.
Oh my God, yeah.
I think my favorite thing about it, like we were mentioning, like we had lunch before this, and I was saying how it's not as much the texture of the suit, it's as much as is the actual design. Like the way the goggles are, or the lenses are, the way the actual red and blue is like weaved into the suit, like the way it's shaped.
Especially when it gets to the hands.
Yeah, it's like it's so cool. Like the gloves are like really different. The web shooters, that was something you were talking about. I love the web
shooters. So I don't know why, I just love the sound that they make compared to all the other ones.
There's such like it's such like a. It's like a hyper.
It's such a satisfying, you know, like it sounds very mechanical, and something's like actually bursting at a high rate of speed.
That's something that I always loved about the Amazing Spider-Man movies, is that like I'm someone who I'm very on the fence about the organic webbing from the Raimi films.
Yeah.
And so I'm like I know it was a different thing, but I'm like, it's really weird when you think about it, and it's kind of gross too. Like
where does this web come from?
It's just like in his wrists. Like,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So I really like the scene where he makes the web shooters. I think is really cool.
Oh, it's really the whole thing where he's like kind of like getting the idea for his suit and everything like that.
What do you think about
really cool.
Uncle Ben and Aunt May in the Amazing Spider-Man?
Oh, I love them.
I really
love them. And I love the Raimi trilogy ones too. But I feel like this one was done a little bit better. It's my favorite version of. I hate to say it, but my favorite version of Aunt May, I think, live action wise.
I mean, I don't blame you.
As
Sally
opposed to
great.
Yeah, as opposed to Aunt May. I just
Rosemary
they haven't really
Harris.
Aunt May and the Homecoming movies.
Homecoming.
Like just I feel like there wasn't a lot to explore with them.
I
actually have some gripes about the whole thing, how they've handled all of that so far. I won't really get into right now. But
what do you think about the villain in The Amazing Spider-Man?
It's a good, solid origin villain.
I think the Lizard is pretty good.
Yeah,
he wouldn't have been my first pick. I think like someone like the Vulture or Green. See, I don't like Green Goblin being like the main villain because he's like the arch nemesis.
Yeah,
you know? It's like they took out the biggest gun for the very first film with the Raimi, whereas the Lizard's like. Lizard's like second, third, second or third tier,
Yeah.
So I'm like, they really kind of expended that with the Raimi films, but I think the Lizard is a good villain, and I actually really like the way he ties in with Oscorp, and also
that's what I like about it. Yeah, that's the main thing that I like about it. Mm-hmm. So kind of like brings together that story. We were talking about how, since this is the last time we're going to be talking about the Amazing Spider-Man movies, but we were talking about how what they did differently with these films was how much of a bigger role Peter's parents plays in the whole story. I
still got The Amazing Spider-Man 2 somewhere on my list.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, number one.
I was about to say, we're not done yet.
I forgot. So I talked about The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
But either way, I like how, we can talk about it later too, but I like how they keep Peter's parents as like a big thing for him. Like in the Raimi trilogy, it was
we literally know nothing about them.
Nothing. It was just like it's basically Uncle Ben and May are his parents basically.
They treat it like the original comics.
Exactly.
Like that's what that's what I see with the Spider-Man films in general is the more the films went on, the more they like went along with the timeline of the comics per se. Like Raimi trilogy, very much that 60s to 80s like run of Spider-Man where it's like he's really nerdy. He's in kind of late high school, college age. Aunt May and Uncle Ben are just like they are in the comics. Like,
super old.
Yeah, they're really old.
Yeah.
And they just kind of get that whole thing right. The Amazing Spider-Man, however, I think is the closest to like a modern day 616 Spider-Man.
Sure.
Where he's like an angsty teen, like he's not like a super geek. He's more just a normal person.
He's still smart.
Yeah,
but he just has that normal.
Yeah, and he's got rough luck as well. Like he doesn't have like the best life or whatever.
Still bullied.
Lost his parents. Like it's still like I feel like he's a bit more relatable in the Amazing Spider-Man films than Peter Parker was in.
I think
the Raimi films.
I think he's more relatable than he is in the first Raimi film.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like for me, Spider-Man 2, that version of Spider-Man is super relatable. Yeah. But yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Back to like Uncle Ben though, I think like one of my favorite moments from The Amazing Spider-Man is when Peter tells Uncle Ben, "You're a great dad," and that's after they were already talking about his father.
Yeah,
and I was like, I think that what makes it so much more impactful, that whole line, was the fact that they did explore his parents before and how he doesn't have any parents now.
Right.
So that's just another highlight that we can get to.
And then obviously Gwen, like we said, is
amazing.
Great, yeah. I also, one thing that I really like is the relationship between Peter and Gwen's dad. That's
really cool.
I really like the way they handled that. Like, I like that twist that which they kind of throw it out the window, but then they set it up in the film that they kind of continue it on. It's not like a total throwaway. Is like him having to lose her to protect her.
Yeah.
Like.
That's one of my favorite things about Spider-Man is that decision that he's faced with whoever he loves, like whether or not he wants to tell them. who he really is. And I love that.
Yeah. And then ultimately, like, he loses, like, she loses her dad and he loses him, but, like, I don't know, he kept that promise.
It's tough. I mean, God, man. Okay, so he goes from losing his uncle, and then
he lost his parents. Yeah, then he lost his uncle.
Then he lost his uncle, and then he has to watch his girlfriend's dad die.
Yeah.
And then his girlfriend dies.
Yeah.
And then we talk about, like, we still need to get into the Amazing Spider-Man 2 for your list. Mm-hmm. Oh, I guess we can save what we were talking about earlier upstairs regarding deleted scenes and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, the Amazing Spider-Man 1, I really love it.
So that's your number 5?
That was my number 5. That was your number 4.
So what's your number?
My number 4 is Spider-Man 3.
Okay.
This is really weird because it's a movie that, like, I really just hated for a long, long time.
Really?
Even as a kid, I was probably a teenager when I saw this movie. 2007.
So yeah, you would have been about 15.
Yeah. 14 or 15 is when this movie came out. I went to see it. Like, I was on vacation when it came out. I was super, super excited for it. And I remember walking out of the movie saying, I was like, that was so stupid.
Yeah.
I was like, that was annoying to watch Peter Parker act that way.
Yeah.
I'm like, I hated that he, like, hit MJ accidentally. Like, I hated so much about that movie.
See, that's one of the things that, like, it breaks my heart, but I really like that because that entire scene, like, I hate that nightclub scene, but but when it gets to the point where he, like, walks in and, like, he's actually, like, he wants to talk to her,
Yeah.
And then, like, that part I actually love.
Okay.
Because when he hits her, he realizes, he's like, what is going on?
Right away, yeah.
Like, he's like, and she's like, what is wrong with you? And he just goes, or, like, he's like, is that what she says? Like, what is wrong with you? And
something along that line.
He's just like, I don't know. Or, like, or
who?
No, she says, who are
you?
And I'm like, he's like, I don't know anymore. And I'm like, that's good.
That's pretty good.
I really like that. That part always kind of hits me. Like, it's just, I wish there was a way that someone could perfectly edit. And when I was watching the editor's cut, I thought they were going to cut this out, and they didn't. And that really upset me. Is the whole dancing thing, obviously, then the nightclub scene. Like, those two scenes alone, you take those out, and I feel like the whole Peter Parker, like, emo thing, like...
It doesn't make it a perfect movie by any means, but it removes the cheesiest things that happen in the movie.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if you remove that, it becomes less of a meme.
Yeah.
Like, the movie becomes less of a meme, and now it's like, it's just, like, not a great movie, you know? Versus, like, it's laughable.
Yeah, because honestly, like, I was, like, groaning when I watched some of those scenes.
Yeah.
Also, Gwen Stacy. Ugh. Like,
I
hate her so much in Spider-Man
Dallas
3.
Howard.
I feel bad. What's funny, I always, like, think about this whenever I watch this movie, is that Bryce Dallas Howard is a natural redhead, and then Kirsten Dunst is a natural blonde.
Yeah.
And then they switched. So I was like, in an alternate universe, what if Bryce Dallas Howard... Honestly, like, I think Bryce Dallas Howard has a better face for MJ.
Yeah,
like a more accurate
she has a comics face.
The comics MJ,
and then we don't need Kirsten Dunst at all.
Wow.
I just don't like her as an actress.
Really?
Yeah, she really bothered me.
I like her now. I didn't like her as much back in the day.
I've never really cared for her. I thought she's just so corny.
That's understandable.
Yeah. that's even as a kid. What was I like? 10 when this movie, the first movie came out. Mm-hmm. First Raimi movie came out, and even as a kid, 10. I was like, oh.
Wait, how were you 10 when the first Raimi movie came out?
Came out, what, 2002? I was born in 92.
I was born in 99. So I was like, was I even 3 yet? No, I was 2. I think so. Wait.
Speaking of 2, I just found out that this is so off topic, but we have to address this. You just now recently saw Aladdin?
Yeah.
Aladdin came out when I was born.
Oh, God. Yeah.
That's bad, Grayson.
Well, it was just, like, it's not on anything.
When you told me that, like, I was silent. I was like, I don't even know what to say.
Yeah.
I'm like, how do you get through 20 years of your life and never see Aladdin, like, on TV?
Well, I saw it when I was, like, 3.
Okay.
But, like, it was, like, it had been so long that I didn't remember anything.
I was watching that when I was 2 years old. I watched it every single morning.
Really?
Yeah, like, this is so off topic, but my parents would, like, set out, like, a bowl of cereal and wrap it up for me.
Yeah.
So I'm 2. And then they would like, make, like, I guess, like, milk in, like, a thermos type thing.
Yeah.
And every morning I had this, like, little table, and I would, like, before my parents were even up, I would go pop in the VHS tape. I'd get my cereal bowl and my milk that they left out for me.
That was me with Toy Story 1,
okay,
Spider-Man 1, and Buzz Lightyear Star Command.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
Dude, oh my God, I loved that movie as a kid. With me, it wasn't cereal. It was milk and cheese. I would get these slices of cheese and I'd smack them on the TV for some reason. If my dad,
when you said that, I was just like listening and nodding my head for a second. I was like, wait, did he just say smack cheese on? That's okay. I put peanut butter sandwiches in the VCR when I was a kid, so it's okay.
Oh my God. I'm sorry if the audio spiked really bad there.
I'm sure it did.
But I found that so funny.
We both have really high-pitched laughs.
The Green Goblin.
We probably need to get back on topic. I said Spider-Man 3 was my number 4. Yeah. So let's get to your number 3.
So we're past Spider-Man 3. My number 3 is Spider-Man Homecoming.
Holy crap. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
Is that your number 3?
Yeah, that's my number 3 too.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Okay, we can talk about this.
Yeah, so we can fully talk about
it's funny though. Hold on, before you say that, both of us have it at number 3, and you like this movie way more than I do.
I do, yeah.
That says a lot.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Okay. So when we first saw Spider-Man Homecoming, which we saw together, I still love Spider-Man Homecoming. I
loved it too.
I adore this film. But you think you like it and you had a fun time, but it's not one of your all-time favorites.
No, it doesn't have the charm and the heart that the Raimi trilogy.
See, for me, it has a lot of heart and a lot of charm.
Okay.
I don't know what it is, but the way they're trying to blossom Peter Parker into becoming stepping up and being a bit more responsible.
Yeah.
Also, just Vulture is my favorite MCU villain. I love him. I think Vulture is such a good villain because he's not evil.
He's really solid.
Yeah, I just think he's horribly underrated in my opinion. I like that he just kind of has this crush on Liz, which was always something that was in the comics, and I loved that. I love the friendship between him and Ned because it really relates to me and my friends growing up in high school and everything like that. Me and Cole, me and my friend Jesse, it makes me think I'm that's Ned and Peter are me and him, especially when he's come build my Lego Death Star. I'm that's me even in high school.
That's so funny.
I actually really like the action scenes. I know you don't like the action scenes that much. But
I don't like them.
I really like the action. It reminds me so much. I think what I love so much about it is it reminds me so much of the Ultimate Comics, which is what was the biggest comic series for me in my entire life. I read those so much as a kid, and I grew up with those comics. And seeing that 15-year-old Spider-Man, if you would have shown me Spider-Man Homecoming when I was a kid, I feel that would have just blown my mind. I think that's what I love so much about it is it kind of brings me back a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The Raimi films do that too. They make me feel like a kid, but Spider-Man Homecoming, I tweeted a while back, I think before Infinity War was coming out, they're it's one of those films, as soon as it ends, I immediately want to rewatch it again.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
My biggest thing with this movie, though, is that, I don't, the web swinging is, there's not a whole lot of web swinging, but that's also because it's in Queens. It's in a smaller area, which I appreciate. I like that. I like that they're building that up. So that's kind of one thing. I also don't like that, he's, well, not the whole Tony Stark thing. I like that Tony Stark's in the movie a lot, but him relying a lot on his suit is always been a thing. It's
which makes the ending really great though. That's one of my favorite parts.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm the homemade suit is so awesome. He finally he kind of earns that. You know? And I think it's different, and I accept it because it's not supposed to be just another generic Spider-Man.
Yeah.
What else? What are your thoughts on some of this thing while I'm kind of
just want
to hear some stuff?
I'll start by saying that Tom Holland is the best Peter Parker and Spider-Man. I still stand by that.
No doubt about it.
I think that he just is perfect for the role.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the universe around him that they've set up, it just isn't really what I'm looking for in terms of a Spider-Man.
Yep, that makes sense.
Obviously, I hate that his identity is revealed to so many people so early on.
Yeah.
Obviously, all the Avengers already know who he is, and then there's Ned who finds out really quickly, and then Aunt May at the end.
Mm-hmm.
That really bugs me. I love the idea of him having a secret identity and not being able to tell the people that he loves why he is the way he is and why he makes the decisions that he makes, because so many people are confused by Spider-Man's actions or Peter's actions. So that's a big thing that really bothers me. Obviously, I didn't really love the action, but it just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
Web swinging is just another thing, but those are like very minor things. My thing is like it's just how they're like building up this character of Peter. Like I think the Uncle Ben storyline is so freaking important to who Peter is.
Yeah.
It basically makes him like it turns him from being, just this kid who acts on his own impulses or whatever to deciding to do what's right.
Yeah.
Like you don't really understand why other than the small line that he gives in Civil War.
Yeah.
But
I wish they would acknowledge it more. That's
like,
the thing.
Uncle
I'm like,
Ben
you don't
is
have to
so
do
important to
you don't have to do an origin.
Yeah, no.
Just but like he doesn't. I don't even think maybe they'll say this in Far From Home. He has never said Uncle Ben's name. He's only said that line in that's essentially a rehash.
I think he did say it when he was talking to Ned or something like that.
No.
Then he said like, you don't know what she'll do when she finds
says
out.
she's like you know what she'll do when she find out. When she finds out, like you know what she's been through.
Okay.
She never says Uncle Ben.
See, it seems like they're just like they are trying so hard to avoid it, and I'm like, Uncle Ben is what makes the events that happen with Uncle Ben is basically what creates Spider-Man.
Yeah.
The whole with great power comes great responsibility.
That entire tragedy is what builds that up.
And
I
like,
mean, the Raimi films make that clear,
Exactly.
That's which is why I nail that.
The same thing happened in the Amazing Spider-Man movies. Like that happening to Uncle Ben changed him.
Yeah.
Like it went from him letting a robber go out of the convenience store just out of spite.
Yeah.
To now, like if he had that experience before, even though the cashier or the clerk was so annoying and a jerk to him before, he still would have stopped them because it was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
So it's so important to who Peter Parker is and who basically what creates Spider-Man. And I wish that was something that would get explored a little bit more. But that's just my thoughts on it. But I love like what you said. I love Vulture. Liz is okay. I think it's a great starting like romance.
I think she's
for
a good starting romance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I really don't like MJ so far, but I've heard really good things about her.
I have
Far
heard
From Home.
that
We
as
haven't
well,
seen the movie yet, so we'll find out. But I mean, that's all I can really say about the movie.
I wish I would have
seen
for
like
me. I almost kind of wanted. I'm probably gonna rewatch Homecoming tonight. That's probably would make the most sense just since Far From Home we watch it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I'm gonna have like a lot more thoughts after rewatching it. It's been a while since I've seen it. It's probably been about a year, maybe a little bit less or something. But so I wish it was a bit more fresh on my mind. But I don't know, like it's just something about it, like like you said, Tom Holland's Peter Parker is just so good. Like I think he nails that like younger Peter Parker.
We've talked about it. Like there's almost like a Spider-Man for everyone now.
Yeah.
And I think instead of like saying like fighting so desperately to have the current Spider-Man that's working right now to be exactly how you want it, just appreciate the one that you got that is like you.
Yes.
Like for me, that's why I appreciate Spider-Man PS4 so much.
Yeah.
I'm like, I freaking love that Spider-Man.
That's what the whole point of Spider-Verse was about.
Exactly. And like everybody kind of has that one. Yeah. And like just love that one and appreciate it and lift it up. You don't have to like, I mean like, because this one that's coming out right now, even though I love Tom Holland's Peter Parker and Spider-Man, I can acknowledge I'm like, I don't really love that movie, and I haven't loved everything that they've done, but I know that there's somebody else out there who's going to get like that feel, like you get that feeling when you see that Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You should let people have that because that's, for whatever reason, they relate to that one more or better.
I think every person has their own, like, especially with Spider-Verse now. I mean, there's 3 different main Spider-Men in that movie. I mean, technically, like, I mean, there's more than that, but really the biggest ones I would say are Peter Parker, which is really good, kind of the more like like the successful one, but he's also like he's kind of like he's starting to get more tired and things. Then Peter B. Parker, who is like he's older, he's just kind of done with everything.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of adults relate to Peter B. Parker,
sure.
And I think that was a great thing that they did. And we're not talking about Spider-Verse in this ranking, but it's still important to talk about. Miles, obviously, like that. I don't even have to talk that much about it. Like he's he embodies Spider-Man in like a different way.
Yeah.
And same thing with Spider-Gwen. Gwen is just, I think, is one of the best characters, especially with her like past trauma and her trust issues. I think that's really, really something that a lot of people can relate to. They're afraid to trust again, afraid to make friends or even relationships.
For sure.
And then we've got
Got Raimi's Spider-Man.
We got Tobey Maguire. We have Andrew Garfield. We have Tom Holland. Like, we have, like, a lot of different Spider-Man.
And video games.
And then, and video games as well. So there is a Spider-Man or person, woman, whatever. For everyone. And that's what I think is so beautiful about the character and what Spider-Verse makes such a grand emphasis on, and I love that. And we talked about Spider-Verse so much, so I think that makes a good point with Homecoming, and I'm happy that, like, I appreciate everything about every single version of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So I also was a little bit on, like, a biased kind of, I guess, a high when Homecoming was coming out, because I'm like, this is the first Spider-Man film that's in the MCU.
Yeah.
Like, I really like Tom Holland's
a lot of hype
portrayal.
surrounding it too.
And also, I was still in high school. Like, I was in my senior year of
true.
high school, and so that was really. And now that I'm in college, I'm like, I get why you feel that way, because you were already out of high school.
Yeah.
I was still in my last year of high school, or at least I was about to go into college, but still, like, it felt like I was. Even my first year of college, I felt like I was still in high school.
Yeah.
I still felt kind of young, so that's why I really appreciate it. And, like, the older I get, now we were talking when we were shopping for some things earlier in the week, like, that's why we like Spider-Man PS4 so much now, is because we're both, at least I'm about to turn 20 and you're about to turn 27. Or have you already turned 27?
Yeah, I'm 27.
Okay. So,
old man.
When was your birthday?
May.
I didn't know that.
You don't remember when we were like, it's my birthday?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. You're right. Oh, my God. I'm a terrible friend.
No, you're good.
But, like, it's things like that. Like, we're older now. We eventually, like, we're more self-dependent. Like, we have a lot of things going on.
Responsibilities, yes. Freaking everywhere.
And we're constantly doing around. Something. We're tired a lot because there's so much. Like, this age is so. It can be hard.
It's complicated.
It can be rough, and it takes its toll.
Tiresome.
And we were talking about, there's a scene in Spider-Man PS4 where Peter crashes on a couch in Aunt May in the
Feast Center.
Feast, right?
Yep.
And it's just like it's really relatable. Like, just he has so much going on,
Yeah.
And so that's why I think, like, now that I'm in like halfway through college, that, like, PS4 is, like, the Spider-Man PS4 version is one of my favorite. Versions.
More
of
relatable
Spider-Man.
too.
So yeah, so we were on number 3. So now I guess we're on to my number 2.
All right. So you're number 2. What do you got?
Yeah. So number 2 is not number 1, which you thought it would be, but it's The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Okay.
Yeah. It's weird, like, going back and forth. Like, I wish I would have talked more about it, but I didn't want to jump straight to number 2.
I get it. So you talk about everything that you love about it then.
Yeah. So we already talked about Peter and Gwen.
For sure.
Is so good. Like, that relationship means a lot to me. And I think why this film means so much to me is because, like, it came out when, like, I was kind of going through a rough spot, like, especially when it came to, like, relationships and things like that. And so that it really, like, kind of helped me get through a tough time. I remember, like, when this movie was already out, like, digitally and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, my dad was like, you can buy, like, any one movie, like, because I was kind of going through a rough time. He's like, you can. And so I was like, I want to get The Amazing Spider-Man 2 because
that's cool.
I really enjoyed it, like, in the theaters and stuff. And I watched it, and I remember, like, I was crying at the end. Like, I was like, it was just a lot of stuff going on, and so it really hit me.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I just love this movie, and I think it just resonates with me a lot. I think Andrew Garfield just gives such a great emotional performance, especially in what we were talking about earlier. I mean, with the deleted scene. If anybody hasn't seen this deleted scene, you can look it up. It's essentially where it's on YouTube. Peter Parker's dad is still alive.
Yeah.
And so he's at the funeral, or he's at, not the funeral, but at the cemetery. And sorry, I'm struggling to talk here. But he's at the cemetery looking at, I believe, Gwen's grave, and behind him is Peter Parker's father. And Andrew Garfield gives such a raw and emotional performance. And so
it's really good.
Yeah,
that whole performance, like, people really praise his performance in The Social Network when he finds out that he's been, like, have you seen that movie?
Yeah.
Okay, so he finds out he's been, like, kind of screwed out of the company, and he, like, goes up to Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
And he, like, starts screaming. It's on that kind of level, that performance that he gives in that scene.
Especially when Gwen dies as well. Like, it's the same thing. Like, Andrew Garfield he just like the best way to describe it is that I've said, like keep on saying it, but it's like such a raw and emotional, like it's so powerful.
It's very realistic feeling too.
Like he can break down, like he can get angry and he can get like he can just start crying or whatever, and just give such like a real like natural human reaction to things. Like it's ugly, but it's like at the same time like it's so good, and so that's like when Gwen dies, it hits you hard
for sure.
We talked about all the negatives, like which is kind of a lot of the side plots going on. The web swinging in this film is insanely good.
Yeah, it's probably the best.
It's the best
out of all the movies.
No doubt about it. It like you just feel the momentum. I love how you can see like when he's like in the wind, you can see the suit kind of crinkle.
Yeah.
Like it's tight, but it's not like glued to his body. Like it's still like
Homecoming's like literally to his skin.
Yeah, exactly.
And then this is like
even with the Raimi films. Same thing. It's like the TASM, like the CGI is really good.
Yeah. Well, there's some times where it's like spotty.
Yeah.
But for the most part, especially with Spider-Man, they kind of nail that.
Yeah. I think the suit is really cool. It gives like that cool, like that modern take on Spider-Man. I wish the only thing with that suit is I like the eyes and I like the logo and I like the overall design because it's just a classic design. But I wish they didn't do the raised webbing again.
Yeah.
Because I never really, that's my favorite thing about the Homecoming suit and even the PS4 suit.
Sure.
Is it's not raised webbing. It's just it's like just black thread on it. And I like that. And I think that would have perfected the suit really. But I'm not going to get into like suit designs or whatever. That's not what I'm here to critique.
Next episode, we'll rank our favorite suits.
Honestly, we probably could.
Eventually.
So yeah, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, like it just means so much to me, and every time I watch it, like I get so emotional. Also, the soundtrack, the score, Hans Zimmer absolutely kills it with this film. Like he never.
I actually really like Electro's
theme. Yeah. Like how you can hear like the whispering and stuff, like in the talking.
It's so creepy.
It's so like you can
like
feel. It's like the build up of like kind of
and
the
then
insanity,
it gets into
like just him getting to the breaking
music.
point. Yeah. It's so really good.
Yeah.
Also, it has one of the coolest spider sense scenes, which I was talking about earlier.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Like with when the electricity is running up the Times Square like
red
seating
steps.
area. There's like electricity going up the poles or the railings, and he has to like make sure nobody's touching it.
Yeah,
I really like that. It just kind of breaks it down.
Really dope.
Yeah, there's just so much great stuff.
I'm gonna finish that movie tonight.
Yeah,
and what's gonna happen is next week I'm gonna be like, actually, I think I need to move it up more
to number 1. No,
yeah. No, by then we've already seen Far From Home, so maybe I'll have a new number 1 by then.
We'll probably not.
I wish we had a camera. Like shaking my head no. But
I could like. I wish. It also makes me sad when I watch it to see like to know that I'll never get to see the Amazing Spider-Man 3.
When that ends and you're like, well, I'm never gonna know what happens next.
Yeah.
Even though the ending kind of sucked with Rhino, I didn't really like that.
Yeah, I like it being. So there was one theory that he dies. Like he just dies in that fight, and I was like, I doubt that, but okay. Like,
oh God!
Killed by the Rhino.
MCU, please make us a live-action Spider-Verse film.
Oh, God.
Tom Holland just appears where he's
That's
like
what
fighting
I was saying.
Rhino.
Like we were talking about it. I don't know if we said it last week, but was it on last week?
Yeah, it was like last week during an interview.
Like the end of Far From Home. It's like Tom Holland's like animated form pops up, and then next thing you know, you see Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire like in animated form, like resembling their likenesses too.
Yes.
I'd cry.
I tried to block that from my mind since we talked about it because I don't want to get disappointed. Because I'm like, that sounds way too good.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm like, everything else that happens, it doesn't matter what happens, it's not going to live up to that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I guess we should get into my number 2.
I know what your number 2 is, right? At least, yeah.
It's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Featuring Nickelback. No. Yeah, we were talking about this earlier. I'm like, that movie's like it's got some really super cheesy and early 2000. You're talking about Macy Gray.
Yeah.
Like, holy crap! I'm like, forgot she existed. When you said that, I was like, oh yeah.
It's like there was that goth lady that like pops, or like there's the goth lady that pops up.
Oh yeah.
Apparently she's actually like somebody like I don't remember. Maybe it's a different. Anyway, go ahead.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that movie's like super early 2000s. But that was like early 2000s, as cheesy as it is, a bad time for movies.
Yeah.
Like I'm telling you, like the early 2000 movies were just cheesy up until like we got into like 2000, right around like The Dark Knight started coming out. That's when like movies started to really get better, I think.
I watched The Dark Knight.
Yeah, but like that like 5-year gap or 6-year gap from like 2000, even like late 90s into like 2006, movies were getting really cheesy.
Yep.
Like really bad. But yeah, there's a lot of cheesy things going on.
Fast and the Furious movies and stuff.
See, but like it's funny though because like those were the years that I was like really growing up.
Yeah.
Like right before I'm gonna be a teenager.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. So
No
like
kidding.
so that's why I think that these Spider-Man films maybe mean more to me, but I also think it's like I think there's some of the best directed Spider-Man, like just Sam Raimi, dude is just incredible when it comes to direction.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole thing I really fell for Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker. I thought he was just amazing. And it was like the first time that we actually got to see like a live action Spider-Man swinging through New York, and like that's, as a kid, that's the thing I always envisioned myself doing. Like
it's so cool.
That's what you imagined.
I did the same thing when I was a kid. Like I jumped from couch to couch, imagining.
Yeah,
that I was
like
swinging.
That's what you imagine is swinging through New York, like, and the cars are just below your feet, like stuff like that. And Green Goblin's one of my favorite Spider-Man villains, obviously because he played a huge role in the animated
Willem
series.
Dafoe is really good as Norman Osborn.
Perfect.
I love
Perfectly
it.
cast.
Yeah.
I
don't know if I'd say. Well, for that movie, I would say it's perfectly cast.
Yeah.
Not necessarily to comic book accuracy.
Yeah.
But like he's just so good. Like he's having a field day with that role. Like I don't think anybody else could have pulled that off the way he did.
Yeah, this is before, like, I feel like for the most part, people take their superhero roles very seriously now because they see what the impact is now on the culture. So you got like people like RDJ and Chris Evans who like really are committed to these roles. Before then, like superhero movies weren't like what they are now.
Yeah.
Like you feel like you would have got made fun of for doing a role like that back then in Hollywood. But he really, he really embraced that role.
He talks about it like in interviews and stuff, and he's like, I had so much fun with that character.
Exactly.
You know?
And he got to come back for like little snippets here and there.
It's
throughout
so cool
the
in
trilogy.
Spider-Man 3 when he comes back. Like, and even Spider-Man 2. It's just like seeing him like pop up, like talking to Harry. It's really cool. I always liked that part of it.
I love it too.
It was also not a crappy suit design either. Like it wasn't like X-Men where it was like leather suits or whatever. Like it was the Spider-Man Raimi suit. Like it felt different enough, but it still felt faithful to the comics.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Nowadays, I mean, like suit designs, like Homecoming, like all those suits are amazing. You know,
I mean, the MCU
they're like perfectly.
I feel like
done.
They can't really do any wrong with their suit designs.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. Well, we don't have to spend too much time on it. We're already like near an hour, so we'll keep going. But
all right, so should we say our number one?
Yeah, our number one, which I'm surprised.
All right,
bye.
On 3, 2, 1, Venom.
Oh my God! I forgot that even existed. We didn't even discuss that before. Like, should we include Venom?
No.
Like, we never even discussed
Spider-Man's
that.
not in it because I care.
Not only that, I forgot about that movie.
Yeah.
So thanks for bringing that back up.
I just was waiting to say that joke. Yeah. No. Obviously, Spider-Man 2. Yeah.
Of course.
I mean, can we talk about like?
It's a perfect movie. It's a freaking perfect movie. I won't let anyone argue against it.
No, you can't say that because you even said yourself that you don't like MJ.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing that holds Spider-Man 2 back.
I just don't like her acting as MJ.
I don't have a problem with acting. I have the problem with the way they treated her character, where like I think she's annoying. And, that. She's just constant screaming, and like I don't understand why in the end of Spider-Man 1 they're like she kisses him and then she realizes that was
Spider-Man.
That was Spider-Man. And then in the second one, she's like,
she's kissing other people.
Was it though? Like,
yeah.
And she was like, I don't know, like it's weird, but
sure.
But yeah, Spider-Man 2, God, what a great movie.
From the opening scene,
it nails like the whole aspect of like
everything.
The tear, like the tear between him getting pulled from being Spider-Man. Like Spider-Man is always holding him back.
Yeah.
From being Peter Parker.
Yeah, it basically keeps him from being happy.
Yeah.
Being able to have happy personal life.
Yeah.
Like, freaking, it ruins his schoolwork, it ruins his relationship, it ruins, like,
That's
his job.
That's one thing that it's weird about Spider-Man 3 is that, like, they just kind of throw that out the door. Like, it's just like, it's like a snap, and he was immediately like, I'm so happy.
I am perfect.
I'm so good with my classes. I have my girlfriend.
Yeah.
Like, and you're just like, what happened to, like, you getting beat down into the mud? I'm like, this doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
Which is, I thought, one thing that kind of held Spider-Man 3 back, but we're not talking about that. Spider-Man 2, like, I'm just trying to, like, even know where to start, like, really, with just
well, we'll say that they got Peter right and they got Spider-Man right.
Yeah.
In terms of, you just see him get beat up
did
over
such a great
and over.
Story of Spider-Man No
but
More.
Spider-Man is always, like, he's always happy when he's Spider-Man, though. Like, that's when he's, like, in control of everything and, like, everything seems to be going better.
Yeah.
Versus back when he has to be normal Peter Parker. That's when everything goes wrong. You get what I'm saying?
But it's like, because he's tied to it, like, it always affects one life affects the other.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, and that comes back to with, like, the Harry thing and even Doc Ock, which we haven't even talked about that. Like, Alfred Molina as Doc Ock. Dude. Yeah. What a great awesome villain. Like, that entire thing. And the train scene, I mean, obviously. Like,
that's one of the best comic book. This is why I freaking love Sam Raimi's trilogy. It's well directed, but that's one of the best comic book movie fights.
Yes.
It's so well crafted. It's not just like... nothing in Homecoming can even compare to the slightest to that. Like, not even a little bit.
No, when he's lifting the rubble, that's a really.
No, I'm talking about like action. An action sequence.
Like the fight scene.
Yeah, I'm like, nothing compares to that.
Okay, then yeah, you're right.
At all.
Yeah,
like, it's just
that
perfect.
fight scene is so good.
But dude. I mean, like, when you do stuff like that, you really have to love what you're doing, and you have to, like, I don't know how to explain
Sam
it.
Raimi, like, he was passionate. You can tell he was, like, he put his passion,
dedicated to
his
it,
heart, like, everything into this. It's like, it's phenomenal.
It's amazing, and
I don't know if, and so people said, like, Far From Home is like their new favorite, and I'm like, I don't think anything will ever top Spider-Man 2 for me.
I don't think anything in the MCU will ever top it, just because it is connected to the MCU. Because it almost feels like you can't even judge the two.
Yeah.
Because like Homecoming and Far From Home, they rely so heavily on it being in the MCU. Like, it's just shoved down your throat over and over, like, this is in the MCU. This is in the MCU. Like, you know, you got Captain America popping up on screens.
We did complain about that, though, for years, because we wanted Spider-Man in the MCU.
I think it's cool that they get to interact, but I want to see Spider-Man in their world, but I don't want to see all these other millions of characters constantly Spider-Man? Popping up. Yeah, I just want a story about him, like, without having.
I feel like they're trying to, like, no, actually, like, the way to put it is they're putting Spider-Man in their world, whereas really keeping Spider-Man, like, in his own world and allowing other characters to come in. Like, it's like Spider-Man has always kind of been a bit more isolated in that sense. And, like,
but that's what I like.
And that's what I like. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. No, that's what I'm saying. Like,
okay.
So, like, they're bringing in, like, but I think Far From Home is kind of doing that. Like, they're trying to bring it. I don't know.
I mean,
it's hard to say.
You got the whole effects of the snap, and you got a lot of the carryover from Endgame and Tony Stark dying.
Yeah.
You got a lot of Happy Hogan still going on. You got
a lot. It started with Civil War. We have to think about that. Like, that was where he came on.
Of course.
Yeah.
And then you got a lot of Samuel Jackson and Maria Hill.
Yeah.
Like, you have a lot of that going on. It's just like it's super connected, which is fine. They should be able to cross over, but I mean, like, it'd be nice to have just like a small movie about Spider-Man, just like being alone. Like, it seems like he's hardly ever alone to just be with himself and his thoughts.
I hope they do that with, like, there's that whole rumor going around that, like, there's going to be 3 trilogies of Spider-Man films, one set in high school, one in college. I feel like the college movies should be the ones that, like, really allow him to, like, kind of be more independent, you know?
I would like that. It seems
I don't
like
mind
everything.
when characters pop up, but, like, I think eventually I would like to see Tom Holland in, like, a movie where it's just about him, MJ, Ned, Aunt May, like, those characters.
Yeah, I mean, like, because they even shove, like, his classmates are, like, have huge roles. Not huge, but they're, like, they're there. They're constantly there, you know? And,
I get what you're saying.
It seems like it's always an ensemble movie versus just Peter, MJ, and Aunt May or something like that, you know, or Ned.
And that's what you're saying with Spider-Man 2 is.
Yeah, and anyways, Spider-Man, to wrap it back up, Spider-Man 2 just kind of has that.
Yeah.
And I love that. And I think it has a lot of charm, a lot of heart. And we haven't even talked about the unmasking of Peter Parker. Like, if that happens in the MCU, I just wouldn't be surprised. And I'd feel like, oh my God, like, who cares? I'm like, everybody else knows.
Yeah.
But because it happened in this movie where it's just such a big deal and he hasn't, like, shown his identity.
We won't
Not even the MJ. Like, that's huge. And then the fact that happens and then all the passengers of the bus or the train pull him, together. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, all these people know who he is. Like, I'm like kind of freaking out, And then when they have that moment where like, they're like, we won't tell anybody.
Yeah.
I'm just like, God, I mean, like, that's so perfect.
Good. That's so good.
And I love stuff like that.
It makes me so happy when I see that part. And and they all stand up for him too.
Yeah, and then like they help him get back up. And then he puts the mask on. Yeah. Takes off. God, man. Movie's perfect.
Yeah. Spider-Man 2.
The end.
What a movie.
Yeah. But we're going to see Far From Home, and I'm sure our list will adjust.
Yeah. I'm expecting it to get around the number 4 mark.
I won't be surprised if it's like number 2, but I feel like Spider-Man 2 is always going to be my number 1.
Supreme. I don't think it's going to be The Amazing Spider-Man 2 or Spider-Man 2 for me. And that's just because my own personal biases. I would rank these differently if it wasn't biased, because I know what films are better than the others.
Just being like critical.
Yeah, being critical. But like when you asked me like, hey, let's do our list, I was like, do you want me to do it biased? I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna put in what I enjoy the most. So that's what.
Yeah, it's not like what film's better, but which ones do you like the most, basically.
Which I think is definitely a key importance to make when people are like comparing films and, getting livid on the internet about, oh, this film, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, well, there's a difference between it being like a critical analysis and it being like how much you personally enjoy a film.
That's why it pays. It's good to be transparent with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And just being like, hey, this is our personal bias, you know. But yeah, that's our ranking. Be sure to share your rankings with us either on Instagram, or you can type in the YouTube comments, or you can interact with us on Twitter and share your ranking with all the movies. That'd be cool. We're kind of running short on time. I didn't expect that to go as long as it did.
Yeah, we talked a lot about that.
I want to talk really quick about the Endgame re-release. It's still about $27 million from breaking the record. Yeah. It's starting to look like it's not happening at all.
It's rough.
If only somebody predicted that. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, God.
No, I actually thought it was going to break it.
Thought it was, especially when they announced the re-release.
Apparently.
With all this stuff, too.
Yeah, there was some leaked footage. I looked at the footage that was leaked.
I haven't seen any of it,
like
but
the post-credit and everything, and the additional scene. The additional scene was awful. It looked horrible.
Yeah, it was
I don't even know how it fit into the plot at all. The CGI was unfinished. It looked like an amateur CGI artist quickly made it up.
Really?
Quickly made it up in a computer. But yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah, there's not a lot we could say on that other than
I wanted to go see it, but I'm at this point
I'm just so happy, excited for Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That's what I'm waiting
That's
to see.
That's what we're looking forward to. We see it tomorrow morning, which is weird. I keep on thinking we're going to have to wait till tomorrow evening, but we're seeing it 10:15 a.m. sharp.
Early.
Earliest showing they had, so
to get some coffee.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I'm gonna get some breakfast and
let's quickly talk about this Doctor Doom movie.
I'm actually really excited to talk about this.
Yeah. So we have a few more minutes. So Noah Hawley, who is the writer for the Fox or FX show Legion, it's just like an X-Men spinoff, I guess.
Yeah. Apparently really good.
Apparently really good, and apparently Noah Hawley is really passionate about doing a Doctor Doom movie, and he was, before the merger even happened between these two companies, Fox and Disney, he was already writing a script for it. So a script is already complete.
Yeah.
And Kevin Feige, when asked about it, said we're still talking about possibly making that movie.
You said this was in the MCU.
It'd be in the MCU.
So I didn't say anything before we were planning this out in the podcast. Yeah. But the more that I think about it, I actually think it would be genius to introduce that Doctor Doom and the Fantastic Four and stuff. Instead of it being another Fantastic Four film, introduce it through a Doctor Doom film.
Yeah, through the perspective, or Doctor Doom's the main character.
Now, obviously, you would still have the Fantastic Four, and you could lead off into other films with that. But start it off with Doctor Doom. He's such an important character in the comics. That'd be awesome. I think that would be super cool. I don't know who you would. I've seen different castings for you can get some pretty great.
Depends on what you want to do. Do you want to do a young Fantastic Four, or do you want to do an older one?
Yeah,
I think they're gonna aim for older. Not old, but like
like middle, like old.
Yeah, like 30s.
John Krasinski.
Yeah,
Emily Blunt.
That'd be cool.
Yes,
that's gonna happen.
So if this is true, like this ends up happening, I think that'd be really cool.
I think it's something that like I feel like it's years away, definitely years away.
Yeah.
But it would be really cool, and I'm just so happy for Noah Hawley because he was like really passionate about doing that movie.
Yeah.
And it looks like there's a chance that it could be made.
Yeah.
So
I'd love to see it.
Doctor Doom's one of my favorite Marvel villains.
Yeah.
Fantastic Four has some really good villains.
Yeah.
Like we're finally gonna get like really, really quality villains for for Avengers or whatever, the MCU. So
I hope we get like
Galactus,
Doom, Galactus,
Silver
Surfer, like Kang the Conqueror would be really cool.
Yeah,
like
which I think
the Frightful Four would be awesome.
Kang was owned by Fox, right?
I think so. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah,
he's like a time traveling dude, whatever. That would be super cool. Just different like more space villains like that. I think it'd be super neat to see. So yeah, I'm totally down with the Doctor Doom movie.
Me too.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much going to do it for this episode since we're kind of running short on time. Anything else that you need to add or plug?
I mean, other than our social media handles, obviously.
Social media,
at comicblast_ for now Instagram and Twitter. And then our respective Twitters, which you can find. I am at Schradester8, and you are at
Keenan Creates.
You change it all the time.
Do I?
No, you've changed it a couple of times.
Yeah, I definitely have.
So I'm like, is it Keenan YouTube? Keenan Creates?
Yeah.
The Geek Keenan?
That's true.
So yeah, at Keenan Creates.
I'm gonna stick with that one.
Yeah, you should, so I can remember, so I can memorize it. But
awesome. Also, yeah, and in a couple days we're gonna have our Far From Home review.
Yeah.
Out.
And then next week we're gonna also have our Dark Phoenix review.
Finally gonna review Dark Phoenix next week, so keep an eye out for that.
We've been really behind on that, but we're gonna get that out there.
Yeah, we're gonna make that happen. I know everybody's so desperate to hear our thoughts on that.
Oh yeah, guaranteed. Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna do it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for listening. Subscribe, rate, do all that cool stuff, and we are out.